There was once a man named Teo, known in his town for his diligence. He worked hard, prayed hard, dreamed hard, and yet, life had never unfolded the way he imagined. By the time he turned 40, Teo felt worn by disappointment. He had prayed for doors to open, a promotion, a marriage that lasted, the chance to build a home of his own. But each hope slipped through his fingers like sand. To those who saw him from afar, Teo appeared content. He laughed easily, greeted neighbors with warmth, and did not complain. But when night fell and silence gathered, he often stared at his ceiling and whispered, "God, why refuse me what I asked for? What am I lacking? What more must I do?" One evening, after another job opportunity had closed unexpectedly, Teo's frustration overflowed. He walked until his legs trembled, following a dusty path out of town, toward a stretch of hills where he used to roam as a child. He found an old fig tree and collapsed beneath it, his spirit bruised. There he sat for a long while, listening to the wind scrape through the dry grass. He felt abandoned, not by people, but by the very creator he had trusted. As twilight deepened, an elderly woman approached the fig tree. Her name was Binta, a quiet midwife known for helping life enter the world and helping sorrow leave it. She noticed Teo's slumped shoulders. "You look like someone wrestling with God," she said softly. He let out a bitter laugh. "If I am wrestling, I am losing." Binta didn't sit until he nodded permission. Then she lowered herself beside him and folded her hands. "What is weighing you down, my son?" Teo exhaled, long and hollow. "I have prayed for years for blessings that never come. I ask for what seems good, work that sustains me, companionship, stability. But God keeps giving me nothing." He gestured to the empty air around him. "Everyone tells me to have faith," he continued, "but faith doesn't pay rent. Faith doesn't keep me warm at night. Faith doesn't give me the things I've begged for." Binta listened, her expression calm, her eyes steady. Finally she said, "Maybe God is not giving you nothing. Maybe he is giving you what you need. So quietly you don't yet see it." Teo frowned. What could I possibly need that looks like loss? Binta reached for a fallen fig and turned it in her hands. When a mother brings a child into the world, she began, the child cries. Not because it is in pain, though birth is painful, but because the air it needs burns before it strengthens the lungs. She looked at him deeply. Sometimes the gifts of God arrive, disguised as discomfort, as pauses, as endings, as detours, as silence that forces you to hear your own life. Teo stared at the ground, unsure whether her words comforted him or reopened wounds. Binta continued, her voice low and warm. "God gives you what builds you, not what breaks you, Teo. What shapes you, not what spoils you. What prepares you, not what blinds you." She placed the fig gently on the earth. "I have watched many people receive what they wanted and lose themselves. But those who receive what they needed, even if it comes late, grow into people who can hold blessings without being crushed by them." Her words settled into the air like dust returning to earth. For the first time in months, Teo felt something shift inside. Not clarity, not relief, but the loosening of a clenched place within him. In the weeks that followed, he paid closer attention. He noticed that the job he lost freed him from a toxic environment. He realized that the relationship that ended would have demanded he shrink himself. He recognized that the loneliness he feared was giving him space to rebuild his faith and identity. Slowly, painfully, honestly, he began to understand. He was not being denied. He was being prepared. One dawn, standing again beneath the fig tree, Teo finally whispered, "Lord, give me what I need, even if I don't recognize it yet." And for the first time in years, his heart felt at peace with not knowing the next chapter. Hear the quiet truth glowing beneath Teo's journey. What you call delay may be protection. What you call loss may be alignment. What you call silence may be preparation, and what you call unanswered may be God shaping you for what you cannot yet carry. Remember this: God's gifts rarely arrive wrapped in your preferences. They arrive wrapped in purpose. Sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes unwanted, but always intentional. Look again at Teo's story. He prayed for success. God strengthened his character first. He prayed for companionship. God taught him wholeness. He prayed for an open door. God closed the wrong one so the right one could appear. He prayed for what he wanted. God gave him what would sustain him. And through this painful wisdom, he grew into a man who could hold blessing without losing himself. Friends, this is not just Teo's lesson. It is ours. When the blessing seems late, breathe. When the path seems unclear, trust. When life feels stripped bare, wait with open hands. For God does not give empty gifts. Every no carries a direction. Every not yet carries a purpose. Every season of emptiness carries a seed. So hear me well. Do not mistake God's preparation for abandonment. Do not confuse his wisdom with withholding. And do not despair when your desires go unmet. For he may be building you into someone who can handle a far greater blessing than what you asked for. This is Teo's story, the man who learned that God's provision is not always pleasant, but it is always perfect. Not always immediate, but always intentional. Not always what he wanted, but exactly what he needed. Carry this with you. Let it calm your waiting. Let it strengthen your faith. Let it teach you to trust a timing wiser than your own. And until we meet again by the fire, walk patiently, walk prayerfully, walk with open hands. Live deeply, trust boldly, and believe that what is meant for you will never pass you by.